Welcome to this video. We're going to talk about the campaign overview screen, which is where you're going to see everything to do with your marketing campaigns and getting people obviously to view, book calls, etc., and how you see everything that's going on, and also how you can access individual stats, etc. So I'm going to give you a run through. Obviously, there's lots of other support videos around all the various elements that I'm going to talk about, so you can dive into each one of those videos to get what help you need on the various section that you may be stuck with. But this is just an overview of what you see on the screen, what each thing does, and then obviously we'll go into other videos where you can access each part of it and see how various things happen. So this is just the overview. So campaigns is obviously located down the left hand side here, and I just want to run through kind of what some of this data and what some of these things mean. So first one we have here on the left hand side is this green button, which is start new campaign. Very obvious what that is. That's when you want to create your campaign, and obviously if it's the first time inside here, then obviously watch the video about how to create your first campaign. Then you have media. Now media is basically any video that you wish to have as part of a campaign. Typically you'll have three, okay? You'll have your holding room video, your actual live webinar itself, or the webinar playback itself, the webinar, and then the third thing you'll have is your indoctrination video. So you will have three videos in there. And then you then basically have the ability to search through campaigns here. So if you had a campaign title, you can search and it will show up obviously just that campaign to make it easy to find as you get more and more campaigns. Now, on the campaign list that you can see here, I'm just going to run through what these bits are. You have a campaign ID, which if you are contacting our support department, please reference that campaign ID. Just saves us coming back to you and saying which campaign it is if you've got more than one campaign. So please reference, in this case, 129 campaign. I have an issue with whatever the thing is, and that will just speed up the process in us analysing what the issue is and fixing it for you or pointing you in the right direction. Next thing is the campaign name that you call it. Now, people won't actually see this. It's just your internal reference. It also tells you if the campaign is inactive, or like this one down here, it's in draft. Now, basically, if it's in draft, it's not live. Okay, you will not, if you visit the link, which I'll come on to in a second, you will not see an actual live page there. So if you do want to preview it before you set it live, please make sure it is active. And again, I'll show you on the campaign video setup how to make it active. Okay, but if you are seeing that you're trying to view videos, try and view your page and it's not active, then it won't actually show obviously as a live web page. So please be aware of that. But it tells you in here active or draft. You can see very easily. Next thing is video status. This tells you whether or not you've built, obviously, your campaign out. But in some cases, you might not have all the videos ready. So you might not have the webinar ready yet, or you might be getting around to doing your indoctrination video. In this case, you can still build your actual campaign out to get the links that you need, which we'll come on to in a second, but without having to include all the videos. You can come back in at a later date and add those videos. And once those videos are selected, they will also then be rendered, which again, there's a video about how long things take on that side of it for video rendering, to then be ready for the campaign. So if you see an active campaign and it's got no video selected, well then obviously it says exactly that. So if as long as it says 3 videos ready, it means those videos are ready. They're in the system and they're up and running, okay? So just be aware of that, tells you. And also you can see here, like on this one, I've got an active campaign, but I've only got 1 video on there. So I'm obviously missing 2 videos, so please be aware. Or you've got no videos selected, or like this one, I've got 2 videos. So you can see here, a campaign should have 3 videos ideally inside of it to get the best results. If you miss a video out, it just won't show, okay? So that's the key thing. So I do recommend following the campaign support video about setting up your campaign and going through there. Next thing is the webinar and booking URL. Now, this is obviously very, very important. This webinar URL is where you will send people from your advertising. So typically your Facebook advertising, that's the link you're going to put inside of the ad and also on the URL that you want to direct them to. And that then means it will take them to the registration page where then obviously the countdown for the 15 minutes will happen. Or less, depending on what time of day, obviously time of the hour they visit. And this is obviously the link that then is there. And that will obviously register, etc. with statistics, which I'll come on to next. And then the other thing you'll have is the booking URL. Okay, now the booking URL is exactly what it says. It's for your call bookings. And this is obviously, each one of these is different. As you can see, the numbers are different at the end. Okay, the structure is all the same, but the number is different at the end for each of the campaign IDs. So you can see here, when you want to direct people to book a call, which you typically would do in 2 places. Number one is when they're watching the webinar, the button that pops up to allow them to click the button. That's automatically configured, so you don't have to worry about that for the campaign URL for booking. But if you do, obviously, which we recommend, putting the link in the slide so people can actually read it and you then talk over it, then obviously if they visited that particular link, that's where you get the link from, and that will then mean that if they visit that link, then based on all the things regarding your admin and call booking times and slots, all that kind of stuff, and office hours, again, watch any videos on that if you are struggling to know what that means. Basically, it will then show the call bookings, and now they're going to sort of miss all the other steps and just hit that call booking page. Also, if you wanted to, you can obviously, we talk about emailing out. Once you've got 200 plus emails, you can also email out people the call booking link to get them to book the call, even though they may or may not watch the webinar. Obviously, there's various things you can do there. So that's where you get your call booking URL, and it kind of skips all the steps, if that makes sense. Okay, so it means that someone would have registered for the webinar, watched or watched not the webinar, and now literally all you're doing is sending them the link just to the page that's literally got your course booking slots on there, and then it will continue on with the next part of the campaign, which would be the questionnaire and the indoctrination page from there. Again, if you don't know what that is, please watch the support video about campaign setup. So that's your booking URL. Next thing is your statistics, and this is the overall statistics of the campaign. So the total page views, the total registrations, and the total number of call bookings. Very, very simple, tells you what it is. But that is for the lifetime of this campaign. Also then what date and time it's created and who by, so you can see. You then have a view button, which obviously will go into various things such as statistics, webinar stats, etc. You can edit it by obviously editing that, and there's obviously separate videos and all that, and duplication, there's a separate video on that as well. But you can see obviously all your campaigns down here, nice and simple. If there is more than one campaign, as you can see here, you'll just literally click at the bottom here and see all these additional pages where all your campaigns are. So that's it. That's what you'll find on the campaign overview. Please watch the individual videos about the specific things that you're looking at, such as viewing, editing, duplicating, starting new campaign, uploading media, etc. All of those are inside of the help section. So if you do need help, please look for those videos, and they'll be able to walk you through each specific step if you need to. And obviously there's a whole video on starting and setting up a whole campaign as well from scratch. But please obviously look at that. But this is the campaign overview to show you kind of what the overview screen is, what you see, and what each of those buttons mean and what it actually does.